Hello and welcome to the Walton STEM Academy informational meeting. If you were unable to make the meeting live, I've gone ahead and recorded a meeting that would be more appropriate for online. This QR code is still available, so if you go through the presentation and you still have questions, please feel free to use the QR code to submit them to us, and we will respond to them on our website. The next slides just shows some information and some pictures of our students and some of the things that we have going on at school. So I'm just going to let you scroll through those and I will get to the information shortly. Okay, so as I said, I want to welcome you to our informational meeting. And you can see here the people who are involved in the leadership component of the STEM Academy. We have Mr. Joe League, Ms. Toby Hendricks, and Dr. Mull. So the four of us work together in providing services for the STEM Academy. And once again, here's the QR code that you may use if you have any questions. And feel free to listen to a word from Dr. Miranda. She welcomed everybody to our meeting and gave you a little bit of background about our STEM Academy's start. So when we were deciding on how to arrange our STEM Academy, one of the biggest things that we really looked at was how successful our ISA program was, our International Spanish Academy program. And they were built on a cohort model, and we decided that that would be appropriate for our students as well, because our general program is so strong that we felt that our students would certainly benefit from being out and taking classes with their peers. So our guiding principles are very similar to the overall Walton principles. Our vision, we kind of took those and tweaked them for ourselves. And of course, we want to engage and inspire and empower our students. Curiosity is the base of all of the STEM fields. Wanting to know why things work the way they work, how they work that way, what are these problems and how can we solve them. So we really want to foster that curiosity, and then we want them to develop the technology and the techniques and the capabilities of answering some of the questions that they have, and to grow into ethical leaders that can really address some of these issues. And you can see our statements of purpose here. So our STEM team itself, is a very creative and dedicated group of teachers, spending long hours designing lessons and working with students after school to ensure that they have a lot of opportunities to expand their knowledge in the STEM field. Because as you know, one of the requirements we have is that the STEM students participate in some sort of academic competition their freshman and sophomore year. And so many of us sponsor those clubs and organizations that give them those opportunities. And teachers also spend a lot of their own personal time receiving extra training that's appropriate to what they teach and would expect of their students. So I mentioned that we have a modified cohort model, and that means that for all 4 years, students will move together with 2 classes. So they move with their peers each year, taking 2 classes together, and they become very, very close. Almost like siblings sometimes, and sometimes they have the same kind of squabbles that siblings have. But one of the biggest things that we see is that they really support each other, and they help each other through the times when things get a little bit more challenging, and they develop these very strong friendships. The cohort model has been extremely successful for us, and I think that is probably one of the best decisions we made in terms of how we set up our STEM Academy. You can see here just some of our students. So one of the questions we get a lot is, are students able to be involved in extracurricular activities? And the answer is yes. But also I want to say that it depends on your child as to how much of their extracurricular time they can give to whatever program they're involved in. And you know your child better than anyone else. So, marching band takes up a lot of time. Are they good time management users? Can they, do they know how to weave in academics with all the other things that are required for their extracurricular activities? But we do have students who participate in virtually every extracurricular activity we have. We have some that play football, in chorus, in orchestra. You can see here swimming, robotics. So there are many, many things that our students are involved in outside of school. And we certainly encourage that because I think it's important to be well-rounded. And this gives them time to, to get away from school in a sense and do something different and do that, maybe that, so they have both right brain, left brain stuff going on. As you can see, the STEM Academy has 3 different pathways: the Advanced Science and Mathematics, Engineering, and the Biomedical Sciences. At the end of the presentation, there are videos made by each pathway that you can listen to, which will describe each of the pathways in more detail. So I'm going to save the time right now for that component when you get to it. One thing we started several years ago was a field trip in the early fall to the Great Smoky Mountains Tremont Institute. And we did this when we began to realize that because the 3 pathways are separate in their curriculum, they don't really have a lot of opportunity in which they can interact. And so we wanted to make sure that when they came in to the academy, that they recognized that while they were in separate pathways, they were all still part of one academy. And this gave everyone an opportunity to meet each other, interact, participate in different competitions and in different activities. It's been very successful, and I think it was a good choice on our part to begin to include this. So we would encourage all of our freshmen to participate in this opportunity, typically in early fall. So embedded enrichment, we also work hard to provide activities that the students would not otherwise get. And one of those is our program for Lunch and Learns. So about twice a semester, we will have an invited speaker come in, and the students will meet and listen to the speaker and have lunch provided. And we've had some exceptional speakers, and I'll touch on that again in a minute. Seniors are required to do some sort of capstone project. In some cases, it's integrated into their courses, especially if they're doing engineering or the biomedical sciences. And they're expected to present what they are working on at the Science Expo that occurs in January. Even if it's not finished, it's a good time to present what they're working on, to be able to explain it, the rationale behind it, and also to get practice doing some public speaking. And of course, technology integration. We're lucky to have some 3D printers in the STEM Academy in all the different programs. So we expect our students to learn how to use those, and of course the iPads, etc. So here you can see some pictures from some of the field trips and lunch and learns we've sponsored. We've gone to NASA and Cape Canaveral. We've taken a trip to Clemson to see the total eclipse of the sun. So those are just a couple of the things that we've done, but also our lunch and learn speakers have been very, very interesting. We've had J-Star, who's an improv instructor, come right before finals. So not only was it humorous, but he gave some students some tips and ways to relax and de-stress, which was fun to watch the students practice improv and extemporaneous speaking. We also had Dr. Po-Shen Lo, who is a math professor and the sponsor of the U.S. International Mathematical Olympiad team, which is a big deal. And one of his jobs is to look at applicants that are applying to graduate school at Carnegie Mellon. So he was talking about the types of things that they look for in their STEM students. And one of the things he mentioned that really kind of made an impact on us was, what are the students doing with their free time? How are they spending their free time that shows their love of a topic? And so he mentioned, for example, that while AP courses are certainly important and good, that they're accessible to everybody. And in that case, that's not going to set you apart. So taking every AP class that Walton offers might not be the best way to spend your time. And he mentioned that one of the applicants that really impressed him had spent his entire summer building a boat. So he was using those engineering skills and doing something that was unique and different, but something he loved. And that was impressive to Dr. Lowe. So keep that in mind as you think about things that you're doing in the summer or on the weekends. How are you spending your free time? Here we have Dr. Knabb, and he is the hurricane specialist for the Weather Channel. And he was one of our Lunch and Learn speakers, and we've certainly had a busy hurricane season this year. So it was interesting hearing him talk about, you know, his job, how he got interested in it, and of course, part of getting into the careers that they're in is an important part of our Lunch and Learns. But then showing some of the things that he has worked on, including the hurricane that really devastated Mexico Beach, if you remember that. One of the field trips we have planned is a trip to Panama for our underclassmen. And we have a whole presentation on this field trip that will take place in 2022. And so I'm going to let you refer to the presentation that is on our website that gives you a little bit more detail about this opportunity. We think it's an incredible chance for our students to explore other countries as well as to see STEM at work. Mr. League and I were able to go to Panama last February, right before the pandemic hit the United States and we went into a lockdown. And you can see here some of the things that we were able to look at. We of course looked at the lock system, which is an amazing feat of engineering. We visited mangrove swamps and looked at the biodiversity there and helped plant new mangroves in areas that had been destroyed either through farming or through burning of the wood. We also explored, you know, the culture itself and the city itself. So there's a lot to do in Panama, and we encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity. So I already mentioned extracurricular requirements. 9th and 10th grade will require academic competitions. Of course, they can continue on their junior and senior year, and many of them do. And then there are 11th and 12th grade years. We require some sort of 40-hour internship or enrichment. And this, there are a variety of ways that this can be achieved. We have students who are doing research at universities and doing internships. The Governor's Honors Program is another opportunity that they might have. Some have job shadowed, some have attended camps and taken classes that they would not otherwise be able to take, maybe through Georgia Tech or the MIT online programs. With COVID, that was more popular. But you can see some of the things that our students are involved in. You've got your the Science Olympiad and Science Bowl. HOSAs are health occupations. So there are lots of different opportunities for students to get involved. And of course, some of them require more of a time commitment than others, so they would need to choose wisely. And then every year, our seniors in our engineering courses, they actually design and present something using the engineering design process. And this is just, this bottom picture just showing them presenting. And in this case, they were at another high school with other students presenting their products. So internships experiences, I mentioned that 40 hours, and these are some of the places that our students have done internships. We do ask them to start thinking about that and looking out and making contacts and reaching out. We do not arrange for their internships, but we will help give them ideas and direct them. And certainly, if we know of something, we will let them know. We have a site that we use. We have an Edmodo site. And anything that we hear about, we post on this site. So students need to keep up with that website and look at the things as they get posted. Certainly summer opportunities are put up there, and we get many opportunities that we will post. So if they're running out of ideas and they don't know where they want to go, certainly that's someplace that they need to look. This is just some food for thought. I've already touched on this, but I thought it would be worth stating again. So I'll give you just a second to go ahead and look at this and kind of mull it over. Here's a list of the requirements for admissions into the Walton STEM Academy. Students must live within the Walton attendance zone. We're not a magnet school, so students are required to live in the natural zones associated with Walton High School. If you do not live in the Walton attendance zone but are planning on moving, we would encourage the students to go ahead and fill out the application, but they will not receive an admissions decision until proof of residence is shown. And first priority will be given to students who already meet all of the requirements. We have a declaration page that both parent and student sign. Of course, we need our 3 teacher recommendations from 8th grade teachers. And if you do not live in the attendance zone, then you'll need to make sure that we get the 7th and 8th grade report cards, as well as any other standardized test scores. And if students have taken the SAT, please include their scores in the application. So these are those important dates, and once again, these are also on the website. There's a brochure on the STEM Academy that's available on the website as well. One final thought before we move on is a quote from Charles Vest of MIT. I thought it was an appropriate quote because I recognize that complacency really is something that we have to constantly fight. It's easy to be happy with status quo, but in reality, we live in a global society and competition is indeed global. So we've got to be ready for that type of interaction, and we cannot be complacent. I'm going to let you look at these. We have 3 videos made by teachers in each of the pathways, and they will fill you in a little bit on each of the pathways. And then we have students who talked a little bit about their experiences in each pathway. The videos with the students, some are quiet. We could not raise the volume up very high. And sometimes the links are picky. So if they don't work, I apologize, but give them a shot. I know that they would love for you to hear their story. So here is the advanced math science. Here is the biomedical science. And finally, the engineering. And finally, once again, if you have questions, please feel free to send them through the QR code, and we will monitor that and put responses on our website. I hope you have a great day, and thank you for listening.